thing as perfection. So I really, really want to stress that before I get started, right? Okay. And so I have 4 cards in front of me. The first card is the Judgment or Judgment, Knight of Wands, 5 of Swords, and the Hermit. And we're going through a lot of transformation. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world, and so many of us are struggling to understand what's going on. So there's a collective conscious of chaos that's happening. But I think also on a soul level, on a personal level, many of us are struggling within our own lives. And it's hard for us to show compassion to the outer world when we're struggling within and we don't have the tools that we need. So hopefully this reading will give you some understanding, some enlightenment, some compassion for yourself, some kindness for yourself, some self-love, some self-acceptance, some self-worth, and a deeper understanding of how we can evolve collectively and how we can evolve internally. Okay, so I'm going to get started. The first card out was Judgment. So I'm still new to tarot because normally I just get downloads and I just share what comes up, right? So the first card is Judgment. That is a major arcana card. All right, and that card is here. So awakening, evaluation, reckoning, rebirth, revival, self-awareness. And I was pulling the cards before I started the video. So the Judgment and Knight of Wands came out first. And so upright is talking about when, you encounter judgment, right? You may hear a resounding call of your own spirit, to look beyond yourself. And this is blowing me away because what I wrote, I'll share with you in just a moment. This card symbolizes a rebirth of the soul that comes with new awakenings. This angel on this card is a messenger from one's higher consciousness, beckoning the fool or the human to live his life with more awareness so that he can conduct or she can conduct or they can conduct with authenticity and enjoy every moment. And so the reflection says, have you ever experienced a moment of sudden realization that would change your course of actions for good? Those moments fall under the Judgment card. What revelation have you had recently? Which messages can you no longer ignore? Which these will feel like callings, pulling you from a slumber into full awareness and awakening, right? So where we are in humanity right now, it's chaos. It's everyone's like, Happy New Year. And then the shit just hit the fan because that's what happens in life with being human. It's, I actually wrote it down. I'm going to share a little bit of it. So I wrote this about an hour ago. Spiritual evolution for the modern human, right? So some of us are so mad at the people in our lives, right? For not doing what you can't do for yourself. You kind of are underwater. You're unsure of which way to go, yet you get angry with the people in your life for not doing the same thing you're not doing for yourself, right? And we want those in our environment to respond to us in a way we need and want. And when they don't, it causes conflict. And so we see that on a grand scale right now, right? With humanity and everything that's going on, from politics to natural disasters to someone, setting fire or causing arson that's currently, beating down the West Coast in LA. We see it all over the world. It's not just in the US. We see it in every nook and cranny of humanity. And it's ugly. And it's uncomfortable. And it's a lot of suffering. So what I wrote here is we have to look within. And we have to be ready to see. We have to be ready to see what we need in our lives, right? And so we also need to see what we need to change. And when we look externally, we cause ourselves suffering. When we look at everyone else waiting for them to change, we can't be free at the end of the day. You know, the only person you can change is yourself. And it said it right here. It says, when the fool encounters judgment, he's hearing the resounding call of his own spirit to look beyond himself, to look, you know what? To look beyond himself, but to also look within, right? So this card symbolizes a rebirth of the soul that comes with new awakenings. So everything that's happening right now is chaotic, is uncomfortable, but it has to. Humanity can't move forward when we're stuck in our comforts. When we're comfortable, I had a situation. I'm human, you know, I have downloads and I have things like that, but I'm human. I go through human things. And sometimes it's really difficult, you know, but I was going through a situation with a group of friends, and I have my gifts, and I never come off that way to people that I love. I have high standards for myself. It doesn't mean that you have to live by those standards. I like really live and let live. Do what's best for you. But a situation came up and it disturbed my spirit, you know, because I really thought that I had found a group of friends. I even remember saying, you know, damn, you know, I'm so comfortable here. It feels so good here. And the one thing that we have to remember is humans, when we become complacent in our lives, whatever that looks like, right? We're going to feel what it feels like at times for it to not be that safe space for us. And then that gives us a chance to go back within and to really polish that mirror of our humanity and say, what is it that I can learn? So it says, follow your purpose, right? So you align yourself with your highest purpose and follow your calling, right? So now is the time to banish your fears and take the plunge. You know, strong decisions must be made, and that requires us to be sure of what our path is. So we have to embrace the rebirth. It's uncomfortable as fuck. It's not excuse me. It's not comfortable to change. Change is very, very uncomfortable. You know, it's kind of like a butterfly. Before it becomes a butterfly, it's a caterpillar. And it's got to like travel from away over there to over here. And then it has to go through its process. That process is not beautiful. Going within to change what's happening in here rather than looking externally is painful, because you have to face yourself. And then it says make an honest self-assessment, right? To awaken, we must start by looking at ourselves with honesty. That's the first card. That's judgment. So instead of judging other people, we have to judge ourselves first, but with a lovingness, saying, I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but I want to better myself so that I can better humanity, right? And so it says, to awaken, we must start by looking at ourselves with honesty, right? And consider challenges, successes, and failures you faced, right? And make adjustments, but don't linger on what has been lost. Reawaken your new life to open eyes. You know, like, it's hard to go through things that are really difficult, right? But we also have to remember the treasures of the storehouse, and the treasures of the storehouse are ourselves. Do we still have ourselves at the end of the day? Then you won. It doesn't matter what you lost as long as you still have yourself, right? And so there was a part that I wrote here that said anger is coming from your soul because you're out of control and not in control of your own life and life choices, right? Yet you focus on everything outside of yourself. And you wonder why you suffer, you know? And so when we're not connected to ourselves, we suffer greatly. You know, we cannot control other people and how they act and what they do. We but only have one life. And as long as we focus outwardly to what others need to do, we can't truly lead happy lives. And so I'm going to go to Knight of Wands. Now, Knight of Wands is not a major arcana. This is a minor arcana. And wands are like cups. Wands have to do with movement. And so, let's see here. This is the Knight of Wands. And so I'm intuitively reading these cards, but I'm also kind of like using this as a guide. Still very new. But at Spiritista, what I go with is what's in here, what I wrote earlier, and what I pick up as I go before I read this. And so Knight of Wands has to do with bravery, hasty, eager, temperamental, ambitious, capricious, unpredictable. That's life. That's what life is. I think this represents life, being as though we're having a conversation about, instead of looking outside of ourselves, we're looking within. And so when we're looking within, right, this is the macrocosm of the microcosm is life. So it says the Knight channels his excitement and motivation into creative action. Fueled by fire, he launches himself into projects with gusto. You know, I don't want to make small of what's happening in LA. And it's a lot of stuff is happening. It's chaotic, and it's absolutely a lot of suffering. People have lost tremendously, right? Some people have lost their lives. Others have not. And when there's great loss like that, there's an opportunity to stop and show compassion for other people. I've been noticing, because when I'm in my cave or when I'm in my lab, I go out so I can get what information I need, and then I come back. And so it's been me going out to see what's happening in the world and then coming back in so I can process it and bring it back to you. When I watch what's happening, I've heard that a lot of people are saying that these rich people can just go and buy another home. How compassionless is that? We want them to care about us, so we got to extend compassion to them. I know it's not easy to give compassion to people who seem like they don't give a fuck about you. Excuse me, YouTube, for using these very flagrant words, they like to call it. But people are suffering tremendously. Just because they have money doesn't mean that they don't have experiences and, pictures and things that are intangible, that are tangible, but you can't get them back once they're gone. Even rich people have that experience. And yeah, they could replace it. They can go and replace their house, the physical part of it. They can go and replace that. But they can't get back those memories that they made in that house. Memories do fade over time. So I want to really encourage each and every person to offer compassion first to yourselves and then offer compassion to somebody else next to you. We're humans. It's hard to human. It's not easy. But yet what happens is when we look outside of ourselves and say, oh, well, that's dumb. That's not me. You reduce yourself to a rock because you take away your humanity and theirs. Right? So it says this is a day for bold action. Maybe in your personal life, maybe at work. You don't want to let overthinking slow you down. Can you pick a goal? Is there something that you can do to push humanity ahead? It says, I'm going to read it again. When we're not connected to self, we suffer greatly. We cannot control other people. We can't control them. Yet we can be better for other people, for ourselves. This starts with us first. Can you be better for yourself and still hold space for the fact that you may never, ever be perfect? Yet you have to look within, right? So it says, when we're not connected to self, we suffer greatly. We cannot control others and how they act, what they do, but we only have one life that we remember. As long as we focus outwardly to what others need to do, we can't truly lead happy lives, right? So suffer what there is to suffer, enjoy what there is to enjoy, but regard both as facts of life. Go home and drink sake with your wife while chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, or whatever practice you're called to that empowers your life. What do you do to polish your mirror? And when I say that, what I mean is the things that you do to stabilize yourself. What centers you? So when all this shit is going on outside of you and all the shit that's going on inside of you, what do you do to center yourself? Some people pray to whatever their God is. Some people chant, like myself. But I'm also a spiritista. I also work with my warriors. I also work with my Egun, which is my ancestors. You know? So you have to do what centers you, what works for you. Some people do yoga. Some people meditate. There's so many different forms of meditation. They go into their consciousness and they're able to really connect with themselves so they can recenter themselves. And it says here, trust you can handle new situations. So maybe, let's say, for instance, you don't have a grounding mechanism. You know, maybe you may use liquor to ground yourself. I'm not here to judge anybody, as long as you do it within reason, right? Maybe you use drugs to ground yourself. Maybe you use drugs, for medicine. So maybe you smoke a little weed from here to there. I smoke too. I take edibles too. Some of it for pain, some of it for deepening my consciousness when I'm meditating. There's a variety of ways of things that we do as humans to center ourselves. It says, part of heading down an unknown path courageously is knowing you can deal with situations as they arise. Work less on planning and more on your courage. Knight of Wands. That's a knight. That's basically like a freaking, he's protecting his steed. He's learning what to do to put himself in a better position. I'm only saying himself because, I'm 47. I'll be 47. Themselves, herself, ready with courage to take on whatever shows up in your life. It's not easy, again. So you're going to fall, but just remember to get back up. That's the point of me speaking to the collective, right? So keep what it is that you want to do in sight. What is it that you want to change with your life? How do you want to show up for yourself in your life? Forget what everybody else is doing, right? It's kind of like self-care for the modern human. Self-care requires us to be centered within ourselves so that we can give ourselves the best of what we got. It's kind of like Anita Baker when she talk about giving the best that she got. She talking about giving away all that she got to some man, right? By the way, I think that man cheated on her. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But, it's kind of like, what part of giving yourself the best that you got are you giving it to yourself? That's what it says here. Charge forward. Now's the time for action. You may be going into a situation a little blind. But sometimes in order to accomplish your desires, you have to act now and ask questions later. So many people are afraid to just go forward in their lives. They even afraid to love themselves. What you waiting for? We're not getting no older. I don't know. I'm speaking to young people. I'm speaking to people who are my age. I'm speaking to people who are older than me. I'm speaking to people who are way older than me. I'm speaking to humans. Humans that can understand what I'm saying. You can't always plan for everything. And see, they're going off. So they're basically talking. You can't always wait for everything. The time is now, right? Okay? And so now I'm going to go to Five of Swords. Swords typically is about pain, about things that cause us suffering, right? And so I'm going to pull up Swords. Swords is delays. Swords is in the upright position. Normally, you're kind of like, based on the decisions you make, you either can move forward, but there may be some delays, there may be some pain, and will be based on how you choose to take courage in your life. How you go for what you want in your life, right? So we pulled the Five of Swords. And so it says bullying, deceit, hollow victory, intimidation, aggression. Aggression is suggested by the Five of Swords. There may be conflict. I just said that. But no matter who comes out as the perceived winner, everyone loses. Sharp and painful words linger even when the fight is over. Ego may be at play here. So I know that some of you are dealing with things in your life that seem absolutely like, why me? Why are they happening to me? I got this inclination from talking to someone, and they were really suffering in their lives. And I was just trying to be as present as possible, but also a firm hand to say, what is it about yourself that you need to change? When we suffer when we disconnect from the inner state of our lives. And we look at what he did to me, what she did to me, what they did to me versus what I'm doing to myself. What actions am I taking with myself? Right? And so I'm not talking to a large group of people. I know I'm only speaking to those who are ready to change their lives and awaken at this time. Because self-work is not easy. It's hard as shit. Hard. Right? And so it says ego may be at play here. Some may feel that most important thing is winning, even if the fool wins. Trust and dignity have been lost. Every battle has its price, is what I said earlier. You know, suffer what there is to suffer. Enjoy what there is to enjoy, but regard both as facts of life. Drink sake, smoke weed, have a drink, pray, do yoga, live your life, love, have friends, do all of those things, but yet don't forget that in order to move humanity forward, sometimes there are losses, because that's a part of being human, right? And so it says, what does victory truly mean? Does it involve conquering others? Are there ways to win without hurting loved ones or others in the process? Does your victory necessitate another's loss? When we diminish others in order to lift ourselves, there's no true winner. The card calls for a careful understanding of how we treat others. It's everything that I said. And so, whatever your practice is, whatever you decide to do, it should empower your life, you know, and polish your mirror. And when I say that, it's the things that we do to center ourselves. And I'm bringing myself back to that because I want to reiterate that again, right? What is one spiritual thing you do when you need to center yourself? And bring yourself back to yourself when everything is crumbling around you. So I say that because it's coming up here in the collective read. Five of Swords. Look at true costs. We have to understand the consequences of all our actions. While the adrenaline rush of being the victor may be tempting, what comes after may not be pleasant, right? And they're going off. Consider you may regret hurting once it's all said and done. Apologize if you're wrong. If you regret, say something that was unfair, there's still the possibility of reconciliation. Ask for forgiveness from yourself. We say that in the healing community and people be like, no, I don't have to forgive. You absolutely right, you don't. But did you forgive yourself? Did you forgive yourself? Oftentimes we walk around hurting because other people hurt us. And that shit hurts like hell. But how we hurt ourselves is the lack of forgiveness that we give to ourselves. I just said earlier, self-compassion. You know, I hopefully what I'm saying is resonating with those of you that need to hear this. You know, what compassion are you extending to yourself? And then it says, choose your battles. All conflict takes its toll. We have to understand which battles are important for us, right? And ultimately serve your beliefs in the long run and which to walk away from. And I'm grateful for this read because it's twofold. I definitely feel like I'm being talked to now, right? Given my own reading, but then also extending that to you all. I know somebody may feel it out there. And I want to tell you, not alone. Oftentimes we go through these battles and we feel like we're alone. And sometimes we are. It requires us to be with ourselves so we can have a deeper understanding of what's going on. When we're always in the wrong people's face, we cannot be present for ourselves, you know? So those people who are giving you their ass to kiss, those people, those family members who are not showing you love and showing up for you like you showing up for them, it's a time now for you to go within and really challenge yourself. To really polish your mirror, really show up for yourself. It's not easy to be a people pleaser. It's not easy to be the person that everybody calls on. But who calls on you when you need you? Right? You have to call on yourself. You have to show up for yourself. You have to do the thing that you're expecting other people to do for you. It's not going to happen. You have to show up for yourself, because some people that you have in your orbit ain't even meant to be there, but you keep waiting for them to show up for you. Why? You know, sometimes when we do stuff for people, it's not going to be those people that show up for us. It may be somebody else, and we forget that. So if you got people in your life that's not giving to you like you giving to them, okay, well then that means that you got to remove them out of your life. They're showing up that way because they're not meant to be there. And how many times are we going to impress upon people that they need to change? That's not how life works. It causes suffering when we do that. And so, the hermit. The hermit represents what I just said, being able to go within, forgiving oneself, and being able to show up for oneself. And the hermit is actually a major arcana card, meaning it's just a top card. So the hermit, solitude, withdrawal, retreat, search for wisdom, introspection, is everything that I just said. You know, as the hermit, the human tries to find the wellspring of wisdom, right? And so that lies within. That's internal work. A lot of times I hear people say, I'm going to use this as an example. I hear people say, I want to heal with my partner. Okay. Some healing requires you to be alone. And you may be able to be in a relationship and do that. But that type of work requires you to, say to my partner, have open communication with your partner and say, hey, I'm really going through some, spiritual stuff, and I want you to be here with me when I get back. And that might be a couple days. That might be a week. That might be 2 weeks. You have to be able to be with yourself before you can be with anybody else. And if you're expecting a mate to show up for you in that way and you haven't done the self-work, it's going to be chaos. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert in relationships, because I'm not, but I know what I've been through. And I know I used to be that person that was like, I want to heal with my partner. You have to heal with yourself. And yes, you can have a partner that will be understanding and loving and all of those things. But I say that to say, with self-reflection comes you sometimes being in solitude. And solitude is not easy, right? You can have people around you. Right before my daughter came in, as you saw, and she came and got her stuff, I didn't even pause it. I'll probably have to edit that out. However, I might just be raw and real and keep it in there. The hermit signals a time of introspection, right? So, and solitude. Are you searching for answers within yourself? Your solitude is an attempt to cultivate an environment of stillness in which you can illuminate the unknown aspects of yourself. Do you feel disconnected from your family and other loved ones? This could be a signal that inner work must be done. It's basically everything I said before, and I'm going to leave you with this. Get in flow. Find out where your flow state is. I hear people who spend thousands of dollars to talk to gurus that talk about flow. Let me tell you what flow looks like. Flow is different for every single solitary person. You're not going to pay a guru to tell you how to get in flow. You have to go within. It's a solitary leaning. It's an understanding that only you will understand once you take the journey. Being in solitude does not mean that you'll be there forever. Okay? But if you refuse to go down that path, yeah, you're going to be there forever. And you're going to fuck around and find out. The shit is going to be difficult. In that space, you're going to do the personal work. Might be shadow work. Might be listening to music. Might be breath work. Might be a myriad of modalities. You have to try them and see what works for you, right? Some people have the ability to do the healing work within themselves and not have another person. That's very rare. Typically, sages do things like that, right? But it's possible if you stay steadfast in your goals. So I'll leave you with that. It says get in flow. That's that one. And then clear your mind. So it goes back to what stabilizes you. What's the thing that centers you? So as a collective, if we're going to heal, it starts within. It starts with each individual person. There's more than one way to skin a cat. However, we can't run from ourselves. And when we do so, we create suffering. So I want to leave you with, be centered. Find something that you can do to ignite your soul. And I leave you with that. Peace, peace.